So PaizoCon has come and gone, and we've seen a lot of panels and we heard a lot of new information, and we now know what's coming down the pipe, when things are expected, what new adventure paths we're going to have, what new supplemental books we're going to have. We learned about what creatures are going to be there and what creatures aren't going to be there, what their replacements are going to be. All this information, just tons of it. But it leaves us with a big, big question, and that is, well, what books are safe to buy now? Now, this is just my opinion, so I fully feel that, everybody can have their own opinions on things, but I just want to talk about what I feel safe buying right now. My name is Don. I'm trying to be the Sly Strategist, and let's go ahead and get into it. Now, I just want to take a minute or two to talk about this new type of video, which is opinion. I made a new blank thumbnail for it, and I'll create a new playlist in there for this particular category. I hadn't really thought of until probably yesterday on whether I would be doing opinion pieces or not. It's not really my shtick, if I want to say it that way. There's nothing wrong with reporting on what the controversies are or what your opinions are or anything like that. So I am in no way disparaging that at all. I just didn't necessarily feel, once again, that was my shtick. However, I didn't see a different place to put a video like this in because it's not news, it's not a summary, it's not a guide, because it is my opinion. So here we are with the opinion section. I wouldn't expect, once again, me specifically to be reporting on the latest controversy of the day. However, if I have a strong opinion, if I feel that my opinion might be of value, and if people directly ask me what my opinion is, and I do have a response that I feel is add value, then I might be doing an opinion video. But once again, if it is just the latest controversy of the day, I probably won't be doing it, although I'm sure I'll be watching them. Now with that, let's go ahead and get back into the rest of this video. So we know information about Remaster, and now we need to decide what books are safe to buy. And in truth, all of them are safe to buy. There will be a supplemental piece of information that is available, and you will be able to do the conversions from the older books to the newer books, but you'll be more like errata rather than physically in your book. And it is something you have to keep in mind. So what books would be safe? Now, there's a few things I would like to say at the very, very beginning, and two statements from two separate groups, and kind of give us an idea of what we can look forward to without buying anything whatsoever. So first off, Archives of Nethys did release a statement, and I'll go ahead and put that on the screen right here, actually. And they will be maintaining both versions. So there will be a pre-remaster section of Archives of Nethys and a remaster section. So all the information will be available for free, which is fantastic. That's one of the big draws of Pathfinder and Paizo content is it Archives of Nethys is fully sanctioned, and this information will be available for all the players without having to buy anything. And then the other one I wanted to bring up, another statement, but this is from Organized Play. And they basically have a statement as to, well, what does that mean for Pathfinder Society? They don't know yet. The books aren't quite even at the printer yet, and they won't be for another month or so. So waiting for everything to be finalized before they come out with a real statement. But Organized Play kind of has their own set of rules sometimes, if anybody has done it, for character creation and for certain types of adventures that they do and bounties and quests. So I can see them having a lot more wiggle room than, let's say, a full adventure path, but they probably will be addressing some of this as they have more concrete information to work with. Now, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and go into some of the different types of books, some of the different categories, and let's go ahead and start with what I think are the absolutely totally safe books. That one that is really 100% absolutely totally safe, Rage of Elements. Rage of Elements is a supplemental book that's going to be coming out, and it is already ready for the remaster, meaning they talked about certain things like spirit damage and sanctified damage that can be added to spirit damage, as well as getting rid of the chromatic dragons and going more to this magical type of dragon. This is already in Rage of Elements. It won't be anything you have to worry about. It will work for the older version as well as the new version, exactly as written. Totally safe book. The next ones we can go into that I think are not necessarily absolutely yes, but just a yes, and that would be the Adventure Pass. The Adventure Pass are not going to be remastered. I don't think. Once again, that's just what I know, and I didn't hear anything about that during the panels that we saw at PaizoCon. However, once again, there is going to be that supplemental release that they're going to do when they release the remastered versions that will tell you how to do the conversions. So goes in that whole thing that I talked about before, the spirit damage, sanctified damage, alignments, NPCs, and by NPCs I mean NPC ancestries, be they dragons, be they drow. So APs should 100% be safe with just minor changes, but nothing that is going to prevent you from character creation or anything along those lines. Another one that is a, once again, not absolutely yes, but just a yes, is the Lost Omen books. The Lost Omen books, specifically the second edition Blue Spine books, they should be all right. There's really not that much of a problem with those. Even if they do happen to mention chromatic dragons or drow, this is lore. And although it does apply to the campaigns we play and the adventure pass and things like that, these books are not directly functional. So these are more just backgrounds and flavors and things like that. So I do think those are probably safe. Now, supplemental books, that would be things like, and I'm saying supplemental books, that's my category in my head for them, but these are things like Guns and Gears, Dark Archives, Secrets of Magic, Book of the Dead, Treasure Vault. That's a qualified yes. I don't think they're going to be remastered. So it is a yes there. Why I'm qualifying it is there are things like the items and magical items, especially if they have lawful chaotic in there because of the alignment changes, there are going to be changes. If it is going to be a positive, negative damage based on the alignment, now it's going to be spirit damage with possibly the sanctified damage added on. These are going to be things that you're going to need to look at that supplement every time you use it, if you want to use it in the remastered version, although you can pull it directly in if you don't mind the pre-remastered version. They're great books, and in no way do I think you should not use them. I did a review with Treasure Vaults because I got it. That was the first pocket edition book I got. And there's some fantastic stuff in there that I really, really enjoy. And there's no way that I'm not going to use it. But it is kind of up to you. There are, especially if you want to play Outlaws, then you're going to need Guns and Gears. So there is things, there are archetypes, there are ancestries in these supplemental books. So that is a yes. I would get them. Qualification is there will need to be modifications to play them. And I did not hear, nor do I think, that they are going to be remastered themselves. So you will have to do a little bit of work for those, but still, you need to get them if you need them. Now we're going to go on to kind of like my last big category here. And this is the one that this is the one that is the most opinionated version of it all, is going to be the specifically mentioned remasters. It's be the core rulebook, the game mastery guide, advanced player's guide, and the bestiary. This depends on what your cost aversion and what your willingness to put a little work in comes into play. Me personally, would I buy them, and have I bought them? Oh yeah, I got them. The only one I don't have the bestiaries, although I do have the PDFs. And that's part of the thing I was going to get into in a second, but I do have the PDFs. But do I have a hard copy of the bestiaries? I do not. Am I going to get the remastered ones? Yes, I am. However, where I want to go with this particular one is, once again, it is a cost aversion check that you need to make on whether you are willing to spend that money twice in a lot of cases. However, there are ways to get these books that don't necessarily cost anything, or you can get them at a reduced price. And let's kind of go over those two categories here. Let's go over the free. The free is Archives of Nethys. I love Archives of Nethys. It is very good for looking up spot information. I will say that in a lot of cases, if you are trying to look at an ancestry or a class, something that has long chunks of information that's blocked up, a lot of times Archives of Nethys is going to have that chunked up and you're going to have to do click links and kind of go all over the place, where on a piece of paper, it's all kind of laid out in front of you, or even on a PDF, it's all kind of laid out in front of you. So everything is going to be free. And by everything, I mean everything is going to be free on Archives of Nethys. But sometimes you do like looking at a bunch of things in one place that are related, as opposed to having to go to various links. So that's your tolerance level. Here's some other free options that I have. Online libraries. There are online libraries, especially when COVID hit. A lot of big public online libraries allowed people from anywhere to become a member and borrow books online. New York Public Library System, your own public library system in your cities. There are various apps like Libsyn and other ones that you can use in order to borrow books from the library, basically in a temporary fashion, but you basically can get them on an e-reader, or you can get them as a PDF, and then you have those books for free. Another one I want to bring up is, believe it or not, in 2023, you can go to the physical library. Here's a case in point that I have very specifically for the physical library and why I think it's still good to go. Number one, you support your public library. That's fantastic. They're there as a resource for the community, so you as a member of the community can go use them. But my specific example is when I did my independent creator review, those were conversions of Pathfinder 1E books. I've never played Pathfinder 1E, nor do I own the books. Now, I could have bought the books. I could have looked on Archives of Nethys. I could have just kind of looked online for information to see how well it is. What I did is I went to the public library, and you know what? They had Pathfinder first edition books there at my local library. So I was able to get the books so I could do a better comparison and read it. I haven't played every TTRPG that's ever been done, nor has anybody anywhere ever, because there's so many of them. That's what the fantastic thing about tabletop role-playing games is there's so many options. And although maybe they aren't right for me, they're right for someone. Every single one of those is right for someone. Even if it's the creator and their group of friends, you know what? That tabletop role-playing game is right for them, and they all deserve to be played. But your local library is a fantastic resource for physical copies of the books without you having to spend money. So go to your library and see, or just call your library and see if they happen to have the physical copies if you want a physical copy without paying for anything. Now let's go on to the lower purchase price. Everybody knows the approximate price of some of these rule books. They're about $60, especially for the core rule book that's 600 plus pages. That's not that bad of a price, to be honest with you. And considering the amount of work that went into it and supporting the writers and all that stuff going on, that really is a fantastic price that they are offering it to us for. However, so I'm not accused of being a shill, it's still a price. It is something that you have to pay, and you might have to pay again later on in the year when the core books come out, when the remastered ones come out. There are ways to get these at a lower purchase price. First one I want to talk about is getting the PDFs. If you want to do the core rulebook, but you don't want to spend the $60, you could spend $20 and get the PDF. And you can do that for every book they have. And that way you aren't spending the full price that you would on a book if you want a physical book and your local library doesn't have a copy of it. The other thing you can do if you want a physical book, and I don't have it in my hand yet, but I did this on purpose, and I just got the fact that it got shipped yesterday in my email, but I purchased a non-mint book. If you look on the order page when you're ordering something off Paizo, you'll see, hardcover, PDF, non-mint book. If they have them, you can order a non-mint book at a lower price. I think the price I paid for a $50 book was $24 for a non-mint version. What I don't know is I don't know what non-mint means yet. Like I said, I just got the shipping confirmation yesterday, so it should be here in 4 to 8 days, and I might do a little brief thing and show you guys what non-mint means. I don't know if it means there's writing in it or highlighting, or if it's just the cover's a little scuffed. I don't know what that means, but I guess we're going to find out. But you can get a physical copy for a lower price than you would the full price. So that is something to keep in mind for these very specifically mentioned rule books: the Player's Core Rulebook, the Game Mastery Guide, the Advanced Player's Guide, and the Bestiaries 1, 2, and 3. You can always look at the non-mint or the PDF if you want a lower cost version. So one more time for this, just because I think it's really important, especially the free one: Archives of Nethys, online library access. The physical library quite possibly has books for you. I was surprised at how many they had at my local library out in the suburbs. Free, those you can get no matter what. Lower purchase price, PDFs, non-mint books. Oh, there's actually one other thing for non-mint books: secondhand bookstores. Down where I live, we have a chain. It's in Texas. We have a chain called Half Price Books, and I don't know if it's anywhere else, to be honest, but used bookstores would be another option to go to as well, now that I think about it. However, those are your options for lower cost versions of these books if you don't have the cost tolerance level or aren't just wonderfully rich, which I wish we all could be. Now, I hope this little opinion piece gave you some information, truly this time gave you some information. However, I do want to say that these categories specifically are my opinion, and hence why it's in the opinion section. And this is based off my cost tolerance level. If yours is lower, please go to the free options. And for any one of these books, especially, check your public library. If you want a physical copy of anything, check your public library and see if they have them. They are an underused resource that we all have access to in most places. United States, definitely. Other places throughout the world, I'm sure there's varying levels, but in a lot of places, your public library is a pretty good resource that you should use. But I do hope you like this video. And if you did, feel free to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell for other things that are going to be coming down the pipe. But whatever you do, I hope you have a great day and happy adventuring. Thanks.